everyone on YouTube and trackside here at Golden Sand Speedway. Thanks for coming out to the track here for ASM DriftX and AutoX Battles. So this is DriftX Battles. We basically have 6 drivers entered for what we're calling DriftX in the same way that Autocross is AutoX. And we have just finished qualifying. These drivers just did 3 runs each. Were scored by a judge on a score of 25 points for 3 outside zones, 2 clipping points, and angle and style. So that's a combination of 25 points. They've now locked themselves in. We've broken them into groups of 3 and 3, and we're going to battle it out for a winner and a loser's bracket. So starting us off, our bottom qualifier, Tom Hilly, in a stock Scion FRS. Was able to get that thing sideways through the course, for the most part, in style, and qualified himself 6th. Now we do have a small field, 6 drivers, but I would say the talent is pretty strong. This is a trial run anyway. All right, so out of 25, Tom's top qualifying score was a 10.5. You can see again a stock Scion FRS. This is all momentum and just throwing the car around. He did a nice job clipping point number 2. Now sideways down into outside zone number 1. Manages to keep a little bit of angle in it. Falls out of the zone a little bit early. Gets up to the outside zone number 2, all across the start-finish line there, and then back down to outside zone 3. Looks awful familiar. It's the same as outside zone 1. Stays in it pretty well, and then a flourish for the finish. This is where the style points come in. Can he keep it sideways all the way through? Not quite enough momentum on that banking, and actually dumps it into the dirt. I don't know if the judges are going to score that with extra bonus points or deduction. To make this clear, we have 2 inside clips. We have 3 outside zones, and then each cone is essentially a deduction from that element to a 0. So if these drivers hit a cone, we are going to deduct that. Judges are scoring that a 5.5 out of 25 points total. So there must have been a deduction there for the dirt drop. Not perfectly executed, but it's still a cool Tom. We're going to have to pause and tow that FRS out of the dirt, I believe. That sand is pretty deep. With a score of 12.5, this is Dakota Pionic coming into inside clip 1. Nice angle through inside clip, gets it in there. Now it gets really tricky here. Stock power 350Z on heavy banking. Gets it through inside clip 2, but no angle through there. Gonna get a little deduction for that. Now initiates into outside zone 1. Crosses it, but falls out a little bit early, up into outside zone 2, right across the flagger's stand. Fully in it, a little dirt drop too. Some good style there, down into outside zone 3. Gets the inside tire, but the outside tire just fell out into the final corner here. Again, style and angle are being accounted for here through the finish line. And we'll wait to hear the judges' score on a scale of 25. Pretty solid run there for Dakota. Again, qualifying with a 12.5. And the top 2 drivers from this bracket will face off for the, what are we going to call it? I guess the loser's champion.
All right, Dakota's score on that run is an 18.
Nice. All right, judges are in. The score for Dakota an 18. So he found a lot more points on that run than his qualifying of 12.5. So our final driver, Chris Hartle, in another 350Z, I believe, another stock power car, initiating into inside clip 1. He qualified 4th with a score slightly higher than Dakota. Good angle across the top of the banking. This is a really tricky transition into inside clip 2. Center punches the cone. Loses angle for a minute, but then reinitiates into outside zone 1. Falls a little bit wide of that really tricky outside zone 1 and 3. Comes nicely through outside zone 2. Good speed through there too. Now he's got to find that flower. Gets the inside tire, front tires into the inside clip, but it's supposed to be the rears. Can he get the dirt drop through the finish? Maintains angle just across the line. So with his qualifying score, qualifying him at a 17.5, that put him 4th. Out of 6 drivers. And he's got to beat an 18 to, well, he's got to beat a 5, really, to qualify himself into the finals of the loser bracket here.
But accuracy to clipping in outer zones was wrong, so a total of 15.5.
All right, the total from the judges, 15.5. So in our losers bracket, Tom Hilly is eliminated, and we're going to have a battle for the win against these 2 lower drivers, Dakota and Chris. but Dakota seems to be the car to beat right now, 350Z versus 350Z. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to go to that final round now, or if we're going to go to our top three drivers. The top three drivers are Andy Smedegaard, Mitch Appleyard, and Shane Patza. So your top qualifier was Andy Smedegaard with a 21.5 out of 25 points total. Then Shane Patza and Mitch Appleyard actually tying with an 18.5. So the favorite is that LSFRS of Andy Smedegaard going into the winner's bracket. But anything can happen here with these single elimination rounds.
Shane and then Andy. So Mitch.
So we're going to get the BMW E36 of Mitch Appleyard out first, pulling those cars through grid into the starting stage. We're moving into the winner's bracket here. We have Mitch Appleyard in the E36 BMW. Sounds like turbo on this car as well. Really nice, smooth flow through inside clip 1, smooth into inside clip 2. Good angle up the banking. Really tricky transition. Good smoke out the back. Just got to get a little up from inside clip or outside zone number 1. Falls just a little bit wide of it. That outside zone is really proving to be challenging. Nice filling of outside zone 2. Gets one more shot at this one. Gets the rear tire in it just. Pretty good clip for the outside zone 3 through the finish. Maintains nice angle. It's a pretty solid run for Mitch Appleyard, having qualified with an 18.5 that seated him tied for second with the next driver, Shane Patza. We'll hear what the judges come back with on a score of 25, a scale of 25. That's going to be a 19.5 from the judges, so he finds a couple more points with that one. Nice smooth run, and again, this is going to be a single elimination of one driver. We have the top three drivers. Mitch Appleyard, we just watched run. Shane Patza next, and then Andy Smedegaard. Shane taking the course. This is a stock power G35, very similar to the two 350Zs we've already seen. Really tough to maintain angle for this stock power car, but he does keep it just, and then tons of momentum, flicks it through the inside clip number 2. Honestly, I think that's about as good as that's going to get for a car with this kind of power. Fills outside zone 1 pretty well, fell out a little bit early, but then up to the top, smoke pouring off through outside zone 2. Probably the easiest zone to fill in this course, and fills outside zone 3 pretty well too. Gets it straightened out just a little bit, grabs a gear. I don't know if he's got enough power. Oh, he straightens just at the last minute. And he just ran out of horsepowers there at the finish. We'll see. He's got to beat a 19.5 to have a chance to get into, well, not necessarily, but he's going to want to hear 19-something to have a hope to stay in this competition over Andy Smedegaard, who's at the line. That is the LS3 swapped FRS. All right, your top qualifier, 21.5 was the high score qualifying. That was Andy Smedegaard, 3.1, but he's going to get a deduction, knocks the cone at inside clip 1. That will negate any points that he could have earned there. Inside clip 2 looks really nice, good flow into outside zone 1. Definitely the best outside zone 1 we've seen of any of these rounds. Outside zone number 2, riding the brake pedal. Cones are still clear, lots of smoke to outside zone 3. Gets that one done nicely as well, but that clip number 1 is going to be a big problem for this run. He's going to get a 0 out of 3 points there. Again, on a scale of 25, we'll see if he can maintain at least, I believe, a 19.5 to beat. Can you remind me of Shane's score too? All right, so despite the straighten at the end, Shane also being scored a 19.5. So Andy's got to beat a 19.5. And just a couple small mistakes from our top 2 qualifiers are going to keep this thing really exciting going into the final round. All right, the judges scoring that a 22.5. That'll be the high score of the winner's bracket here, and we're going to have a one more time between Shane and Mitch to determine which driver goes on to the final as well. And we're getting a ruling from the judge that the cone was still in the box, so we're kind of going off of autocross rules, this being drift cross. I'll take that. So Andy Smedegaard not being deducted anything for that inside clip number 1, and the rest of the scoring kind of explains itself. Definitely the best looking run of the 3, but again, one more time for Shane Patza. If he can fix that finish, I don't know if grabbing that gear worked for him. Kind of runs out of power there to keep angle through the finish, and that had to be the kind of niggle that kept him from beating Mitch Appleyard in that first round. waiting to hear if we're going to do our one more time first, or if we're going to do our championship battle for the losers bracket between Dakota and Chris. We'll see who pulls to the line first. Looks like we're going to the one more time first, so this will be the winner's bracket. One more time elimination for who will go face Andy Smenegard in the finals. Shane Patza going back at it first. Running slightly out of order here into inside clip number 1, grabs the e-brake through inside clip 1, looks pretty nice. Again, this car is really challenging through this section. Got to drift it up the banking, straightens just slightly through inside clip 2, now into outer zone 1. Bunch of handbrake, keeps it pretty nicely inside the beginning of outside zone 1. Falls out just a little bit early, as we've seen many drivers do. Good fill of outside zone 2 and then into outside zone 3. Again, nice entry, but a little bit early exit. And this time he skips the shift. He tries to keep the car at angle, and he does so with a 360 across the line for a flourish at the finish. He's going for every bonus point he can get right now. All right, so we'll hear what the judges got to say about that one. Trying to beat an 18.5 on that previous run. I think that was a little bit better linked, if not a little bit more up on the wheel for Shane Patza there. Mitch Appleyard going to be next in the E36. Judges' score are going to be a 21.5. 21.5 for Shane Patza. I think he earned about at least 0.5 of that after the finish. Nicely done. Now Mitch Appleyard, he's got to be the 21.5. Good drift through outside for inside clip 1. The difficult link into inside clip 2. Knocks the cone over by DriftX rules. I believe that's going to be a deduction on inside clip 2. Now into outer zone 1. Fills it pretty nicely, at least as well as Shane did. Now up to outside zone 2. Oh, and he grabs a little bit of a straighten and has to bail out of the run. And I think that's going to default Shane Patza into the finals against Andy Smenegard. Mitch is going to finish this one off. He's got some tire left, but something happened. It looks like the car might have grabbed maybe the start-finish line paint or something and gripped up really hard. And a straighten for Mitch Appleyard, I think, is going to move Shane Patza into the finals, and for sure a judge's score of 14 for that run. Between clipping the inside cone at inside clip 2 and the straighten in outer zone 2. That makes sense to me. So now moving on to the, are we going to call them losers champions? I don't know about this. Dakota Pionic versus Chris Hartle in a pair of 350Zs. These guys battling it out for top honors of the bottom bracket. And this is just, if nothing else, I'm having fun.
He keeps giving me that error, so I want to change the settings once I have.
Sure. All right, Dakota Pionic grabbing the handbrake into inside clip 1. Stock power cars, both these here, so they have a big challenge to link this banking. Maintains angle just, but I'll give him that. Through inside clip 2 into outer zone 1. Falls out completely wide, way too far outside of outside zone 1. Into outside zone 2, keeps the foot in it. Nice fill of outside zone 2. Big dirt drop through the victory circle of Golden Sands Speedway, but misses outside zone 3. Same as he missed 1. Going to go for the dirt drop up at the top of the oval. Maintains angle through the finish. And again, this is for top honors of the bottom bracket here, so a pretty solid run. I think that outside zone 1 and 3 are going to be the big hang-ups there for the judge. 17 is the score from the judging stand. At the line, Chris Hartle is going to have to beat a 17. If he can replicate that run, but fill outside zone 1 or 3 just a little bit better than Dakota, I think he can take this. Very similar car. Chris has been drifting his Corvette all day and then switching to the 350Z for the drift comp here, DriftX battle. Nice fill of inside clip 1. Ooh, big center punch of the inside cone at zone 2, clip 2, into outside zone 1. Also runs way wide, just like Dakota. This looks almost like a carbon copy between the two drivers. Fills outside zone 2, good momentum across the top of the banking. And then down into outside zone 3, gets a little bit closer, but that inside clip 1, or inside clip 2 is going to be a big hang up here. It goes all the way out to the dirt drop, keeps it sideways just across the line. It's going to be a close call, but see what the judges come up with. On a scale of 25, he's got to beat a 17. With that run to take top honors of this second bracket. That is going to be scored from the judges a 15. A 15-1-5, which means Dakota Pionic will take the win of the bottom bracket here. And that takes us to the final DriftX battle of the day. Andy Smedegaard versus Shane Patza. Both drivers pretty much looking staged and ready to go. No, not really, actually. I see Shane walking around. Looks like we're going to see Andy Smedegaard first, Shane Patza second. These drivers were only separated by 1 point in the first round. That would have been a 22.5 to a 21.5. I have to imagine this is when the judging is going to get as nitpicky as we've seen. We're going to see Shane first, excuse me. So we have inside clip 1, looks like a pretty easy one to accomplish. Inside clip 2 is really tricky. We're transitioning from heavy banking into a kind of bottom of the track clip. We're going to see Shane go, drops the clutch over the banking into the oval, grabs the e-brake through inside clip 1, check that one off. He's got to keep some angle in it over the top of the hill. Not a lot of smoke with the stock power G. He's got to go way more on momentum. Good momentum there through inside clip 2, and then a heavy checkup for outer clip number 1. Waving at the camera, going for style points through outside zone 2. Unfortunately, I think it put him a little shallow on outside zone 2 as well, but then into outside zone 3, beautifully done. Got to be the best we've seen outside zone 3. And then into the finish. Ooh, comes up a little shallow, straightens right at the end. Goes for the 360, and he's taken those things to the cords to finish this day off. Lost where he was, it looks like. He's looking like, I gotta say, it was not as precise as the 21.5, but he was really going for it, so we'll see if he makes up with some style points. And that's gonna be a 22 for Shane Patza, so we need as close to a perfect score as we've gotten out of anybody. For Andy Smedegaard to take the win, goes for the big burnout at the start into inside clip 1. Full momentum, full throttle to inside clip 1. Goes to the high side of the banking into inside clip number 2. And he wobbles the cone, takes it down. That's going to be a 3-point reduction. Inside clip 2 by DriftX. Nicely filling on the outside zone number 1. Outside zone 2, put him a little shallow too. Driver's getting distracted, trying to go for style. Outside zone 3 looks beautiful, heavy to the top side. Oh, and he's going to go for an extra loop around the corners. Now, there are rules about hitting, not necessarily rules about missing a gate. So we'll see from our autocross-minded judge if this is considered a DNF, if this is considered extra stylish, if he goes for even more. He just wanted to use third gear. Speedway grabs a whole bunch of brake to slow it down for the finish. And a big fireball out the back to put a button on that one. We're looking for a 22 to beat Shane Patza, and it's gonna be a 17. Shane Patza takes the win of our top bracket. And unfortunately, that inside clip and that little renegotiation of the course, I'll say at the end, looks like Shane's going to take the win. Wave to your fans, Shane. And with that, our DriftX battle is done. We're going to move on to our autocross pursuit battle. We will keep trying to stream and at least record this for next time. So thanks for joining us. See you soon.